Hello, everyone. Welcome, episode 25, Wealth and Wellness Brilliant Podcast with Big Cat and special guest Jose Rodriguez.
Hey everyone, how you doing, Jolita? How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing,
Great, fantastic.
we just came back not that long ago from Florida, where we actually met at Grant Cardone's 10X Business Summit. And there was a lot of business owners. And how was starting a business on your own? How was that, Jose? I know you been in this journey.
I was starting a business on my own. I still remember I was in Mexico. I think that was 2 years ago, and I found this book that is called Start at the End. I don't remember the author.
What is the name?
Start at the End.
Start at the end. Okay.
And I knew that I wanted to start a business for a while. And while in Mexico, reading this book for me was a call to action. Was reading it and was being like, am I just going to read this book or am I going to actually implement what this person is saying to start the dreams that I've been wanting to create for a while? And that was it. I started reading it. I started implementing everything in Mexico. I had a lot of fear. I had a lot of doubt. I had a lot of questions, but I knew that what I was feeling in that moment of creating a business of my own was excitement, was the drive of waking up every day, even though I was on vacation, and like putting in hours of work, being creative, that creative energy that comes up when you're creating a business as well. So it was that was the beginning of my business journey.
So, what would say biggest initial challenges or fears or struggles you have came across so far?
Believing in myself. I think it was believing in myself a lot while I'm creating a business. There was a lot of voices that were coming in, my own and other people's voices on how I should do things. When things weren't working, I would question myself a lot and wonder if I was doing it correctly or not. People's opinions would sometimes drive me away from what I wanted to create. So there was a lot of that going on, and it was about believing and the fear that comes up of, am I gonna be able to make something happen? The judgment that comes up as well for me and my own thoughts of like, you're not good enough, Jose, to create something. Like, why are people gonna pay attention to you? Why are people going to listen to you? Like, who do you think you are? All those thoughts that would come up as I would be creating this, the vulnerability of putting myself out there into social media and even in person was also something that would come up a lot and still comes up a lot right now, but not as much. And that's because of the work that I have done has helped me tremendously. Now I'm aware of those thoughts when they come up. Now I trust myself a lot more too. And I believe in myself, which is important.
Yeah, I
I
think
remember speaking with another business owner, and they were saying like when they started, everyone was like, "Well, you're leaving your 9 to 5 job. Like, what are you going to do if it doesn't work out?" And he was like, "I'll get another 9 to 5 job, right?"
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
live once. And I should mention that, so Jose, you used to work an hour Brilliant Massage and Skin Spa as a massage therapist, and that's how we met.
Mhm.
So you're also passionate about wellness and working with conscious business owners. That is your niche right now to serve, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I was in the military. I got out of the military when I was 22. I went to college for one semester. I think it was accounting or marketing, and that was not aligned with what I wanted to do. So I went into the wellness. It actually came up from with a conversation with my brother-in-law, who we were just talking, and he was like, "Well, you like helping people, and you're good with your hands. So what if you go into some type of massage?" And that conversation was like that opened that door for me to go into the wellness industry. I became a massage therapist. I became a Reiki practitioner as well. Started going into meditation, traveled to South America to do medicine work down there for me. And so that all of that was like really around me during those beginning years, like 22 to 26. And then I moved to Vermont 3 years ago or 4 years ago.
Mhm.
and I started working for you because I became a massage therapist, and yeah, that is how we met. And I think also to touch base on what Nick said, it's important of like we create fears that are bigger than what we think, like
Yes, false evidence appearing real.
yes, yeah, it's like you don't if it doesn't work out, then yeah, you can get another 9 to 5 for the time being while you create another business if you want, or just be like, hey, I tried it, it's not for me. I'll just go to my 9 to 5. And there's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5 as long as you're happy doing it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with actually a lot of people think that go starting a startup from scratch, going, that route is gonna be more free time. Actually, a lot of
It's less.
less free time
Yeah.
than 9 to 5 because 9 to 5, leave it, you close the door and business owner can deal with, the marketing, everything else. But when you are your own business owner, you are responsible for 100% what happens and for other people's paychecks, not just your own.
Right, like the responsibility grows, your time gets more gets filled with your own things. And also another myth is like you become your own boss. So it's a myth because the people that you're serving, there are your bosses. So at the end of the day, you're
Exactly.
always gonna have a boss no matter what.
But however, being a business owner eventually can give you more freedom. One, if you set up proper systems and processes, and you can also, you're building like an asset where it could be sold if it doesn't solely rely on you as a one a man show. For example, if you got to get employees and you create a system, let's say if you got other coaches, right, you could create eventually an asset that could be sold. So that's one benefit of business ownership, I guess, that's putting that extra hours, extra work will pay off eventually, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's one of my dreams is like create like I think that's I don't know if that's you guys' dream too, but it's creating a business that's fulfilling not only you, but the people that work for you or with you, and then creating that freedom for you to focus in your own family while that business is creating income for you and the people in it.
Mhm.
And there's also like a fun aspect to it too, right? For like the business that I work in, with technology, you're working with different business owners. You're working in a variety of different businesses, might be working with a retail customer one day, a franchisee the next day, a medical office. It's that varied work experience that exposes you to a lot of new technology, new issues in different businesses, but then you can use that information to then replicate to other companies as well that you
Yes, it creates personal growth. And for example, so when I created
it forces you to constantly learn.
Mm,
yes.
hmm
Yeah, and when I created Brilliant Massage and Skin, so my intention was to take myself off the day-to-day operation and be able to travel. And so I accomplished that. And actually, I could sit back now and relax. But I was listening yesterday in Bible studies, actually. Even I don't know if you're religious. I mean, I would say I'm pretty fairly religious person. But even in Bible, it says that coasting along is actually wickedness. Like if you accomplish something and sit back and don't strive for something more, that's actually laziness. That's stopping to grow to serve uh, people and God in the highest intent that you could be serving. So like for me, that's why I think I got into franchising now because it's like a next level game. It's challenging to break through as an emerging franchisor. But then I was thinking, okay, well, if I just now do what I've been doing, I don't know if that's really making things that much better or evolving because you're not growing, you're just staying kind of the same in the comfort zone.
mm. Yeah, and what you touched on was like we all came here to serve at the end of the day and to serve creator and to serve each other. And when like Nick said as well, and you said is like when we create our own business, we grow, but we also start serving other people. And when you stayed in the same level, it's wicked because you stop serving humanity. You stop serving that gift that has been given to you. And now with franchising, what you're doing is you're opening that door for other people to be like, I can create my own business and I don't have to start from scratch either. I can have a support team that's going to help me with my own business. And so you're opening the door for people to believe in themselves as well, which I think is super important.
The biggest thing in business, just in general, is you encounter a lot of problems that you've never had to deal with before, or that you don't know how to deal with. Say you were working, for at a 9 to 5 job, and a contract comes across your desk. It's like you just give it to counsel, right? They review it, they tell you what to do, and you move on to the next thing.
Mhm.
But in the context of what we're talking about with being a franchisee, you have that person to call, say, hey, I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z, and they're like, oh yeah, yeah, this is what you're gonna do. This is probably what's gonna come up. These are the issues that you're gonna encounter. And I find that a lot just in the business that I do is, people are like, wow, how do you guys know how to do this? And I'm like, it's in the top 10 most common things for this type of business, right? And that just comes from experience. But would you rather be able to rely on someone else's experience and what got them through the issue, or just trying to figure it out yourself, right?
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for some people, one path is right than the other. Like some people just want to do everything from scratch and figure out through trial and error. But for some people in their path and wherever they are in their season, maybe they have some savings that they can actually invest a little bit like a front of money. It's almost like a coaching package, when you pay the franchise fee, plus you can get additional coaching even with you. So it is saving time and money and mentors, even outside the franchising or anything, whatever you do, investing into education. Because like buying a franchise, you're buying systems and education, right? It's like school. It tells you exactly what to do, how you do marketing, Google, Facebook ads. This is how you do grand opening, flyers, and this is how you hire, what products to buy. So that's very important. What separates successful people from not successful people, that they're willing to invest into themselves, into their education. And like you came to Business Summit and you invested in sales coaching training. How has that been going for you?
Yeah. And before I answer that question, I think it's also what you guys are touching on is when I created a business by myself, there was a lot of times that I felt alone. But with having a team around you, that fear of being by yourself and not knowing if you're doing it correctly goes away. And that is when I'm starting to understand what franchising is like you have a team that can support you while you grow your business and you don't feel alone. If fears or questions come up, you guys are gonna be there.
Yeah, exactly.
And that for me is like, oh, if I was starting a franchise, yeah, yes. I started a business from scratch. I'm starting another business from scratch. But I'm also, like you said, I just invested in myself in a team with that 10X that knows how to grow a business, that knows how to do sales, marketing, everything that I'm not good at. Um,
Mhm.
so I just started, literally, I had a call with the team yesterday, and it felt so good. It felt so good to have people that are knowledgeable about sales, that have a system already in place for me to plug in what I have built, like my website, my social media, ebooks that I have created to be okay, like we're just gonna put it here, and you're not alone. And that has changed. Like I feel my nervous system just like, ooh. And when my nervous system calms down, I'm able to believe even more. So far, going to that business summit, which was an incredible gift by you guys as well. Um,
Happy that I had that opportunity to invite you.
Thank you, thank you. And it has been incredible. Yeah, there was an opportunity to invest into their school. And when it came up, I knew that I wanted to do it because I knew I was there for a reason. And for me in that moment was working with my nervous system, was working with my thoughts, was working with like all those little voices that come up. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, okay, like quiet everyone out, even the person that's trying to sell their course, and just like listen to myself, listen to how my body is responding to my surrounding and to myself, and make a decision from that. And yeah, I will go ahead and sign up because I need it. I need training in sales. I need training in marketing. I need training in operations and how to manage a team, all those things that they provide.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And as you're growing your business, being good in sales, no matter what industry, even if you're not in business, knowing sales is vital. Like even Grant Cardone, as you will see in Cardone U that they have. Now we're not trying to pitch. We're not paid by them, just to clarify. But I did benefited from them, so I don't mind, doing some review here, positive feedback. Is that he says, even your spouse, like you need to pitch which restaurant we gonna go to. Like, do you want to paint walls this color or this color? That's a sale. You
mhm,
put
mhm.
them on the idea. So people a lot of times don't understand that sales is everything. And you sell or you being sold by someone on something.
I think I would tweak that just a little bit that it's not necessarily life is not sales, right?
Mhm.
Life in general is not a sales pitch, and a relationship is not a sales pitch. But what you can take away from people that are successful in sales, and specifically successful because they're ethical in sales, is that it's really what comes down to in life. It's customer service. It's putting yourself into the customer's shoes or someone else's shoes, being like, why is this person so frustrated? Like, what's their problem? Why don't they get it? And it's like, well, hold on a second. Put yourself into their shoes. Maybe they're from a different generation. They don't understand technology. They've never had to use that product. They've never gotten a massage before. They're nervous. So how do you put them at ease? How do you understand and emphasize with the customer and try to come to some sort of middle ground? I
Mm.
would beg to differ that you need to have a PowerPoint sales deck in terms of what color you're painting the wall. But I think, there's an analogy there of, this is what I want, from the sale. This is what I want. Where do we come? What makes sense? What is in the middle?
Yeah.
Hmm. I like that. And I think it's a mixture of both. It's
Mhm.
their sales are happening every day. And even in our own actions of like selling and selling for me, and I'm gonna speak personally, had a bad rep because of how people used to sell me
For
things.
a lot of people, that bad, sleazy salespeople ruin the reputation.
Yes.
It's, as soon as someone hears I'm a salesperson or I do sales or I'm gonna sell you something, the first thing that comes is like the used car salesman, right?
Yes.
This car is great. It's gonna be awesome. 5 days later, it blows a head
Bad
gasket.
sales. That's not ethical sales.
Right.
Yep. Yeah,
So
and that's why, in my example, I said, people that are good in sales because they're ethical in
Yes.
sales.
Yes. And like we said something like put them at ease. And at ease doesn't mean like lie to them. It's like understand them and being truthful with like, do I really have a solution for them? And I'm not just doing it for the money. It's like, are they really going to benefit from this service or product that I have? And that I think people feel that of like, hey, I see your problem. I understand you. And what I have, I guarantee or I promise that is going to help you in some way of another. And if they
Yep.
take it, they take it. If they don't, then that's okay
Well,
too.
yeah, sale is really matching what the person needs, the solution. If you're not selling them the solution, like for example, if you had cancer and I had the cure and I didn't sold it to you, I would be a terrible person, right? So
Right.
if we are not selling the cure, the solution to their problem, we are a terrible person. We are selfish. So selling is actually is a service. Selling is really a service that we provide, matching the person to what they're looking for, what they need. If they search on Google, how to start my own spa, how to not fail operating massage and skincare business, and I provide them here. This is playbooks. Exactly. Just copy paste what we did. We will support, we'll be along the way, hold your hand. You'll have less anxiety, less stress, save time and money. We'll help you with real estate. I'm providing the solution, right? Or like
Hmm.
if they're searching, where is IT company? I need computer repair. And Nicholas, helps them to set up their computer system for their office. That's a great sale because you're matching what they're looking for. Or for you, is somebody looking, I need a coach, I need mental support going through this business endeavor. I need someone to be there for me, right?
The one thing that I want to bring up that you mentioned is just a real world example is, we were in the sales cycle with a prospective client, to offer them monthly services, kind of become their external IT department, et cetera, et cetera. So we were engaged in a very small project, and on the quote there was, the things that are on the quote for in terms of the engagement. And towards the end of this very small engagement, they were like, well, hey, I thought on the quote there was this, this, and this. Are we going to still do that? And it's like, hey, like, look, I'm going to be honest with you. We certainly can. We had put that on the quote because we thought that we were going to run into this, this, and this. We actually didn't. So, we're happy to still deploy that, but, I don't feel that that's right to sell you something that you don't really need. We can
Hmm.
put it in our back pocket. 2 weeks from now, we can always come back and, implement, those things. And that was for her, that was kind of the switch in her head that honestly reduced what we thought the sales cycle was going to be, this long drawn out process, to essentially her signing up for services right there on the spot, because she was like, hey, look, this is the first time a salesperson hasn't sold me something that I didn't need, right?
Hmm.
And so it's like sometimes that little bit of a hit with, okay, we're gonna lose a couple bucks because there's some margin, right? Everyone needs to pay the bills at the end of the day, but sacrificing outwardly that little bit of margin right there actually paid off way, way, way more, and it shortened a stressful sales cycle that had been going on for weeks, down to essentially one little conversation.
Yeah, she trusts you guys.
Yeah, so that, at the end of the day, especially with technology, you need, someone that's managing your data and has access to your network and confidential information. You have to be able to trust them, high, high, high level of trust. Just like in a massage, you need to trust the person that you're working with, and coaching, you need to trust that person. And, having those little touch points along the way where you show that, hey, yeah, we're in a sales cycle. Clearly, everyone knows that, it's not a secret. But you know what? Like, it doesn't have to be that typical hard pressure sales, because that turns people off, right?
But that's not good sales. A good sale is like we talked, it is
Mm-hmm.
matching what person exactly needs. And if you sold someone that they didn't need, and they will never buy again from you. Like if
Hmm.
you sold to someone just to convincing is not selling. Selling is just educating the person about how this product is going to help them, what they already need. Or sometimes maybe they don't know that there's a tool that they need, but then you educate them how is that going to help them. But like selling ice to Eskimo, that's not a good sales at all.
Right, it's not
You're gonna
ethical.
get one sale, and that's it. And it's a small world, especially in Vermont, it's small. But I always say, the flight from Chicago to Burlington or National to Burlington, I always see at least a couple people that I know on that flight. What are the chances? I don't travel that often, but what are the chances that, and it's all the time. I mean, the last time when Yolita and I were coming back from Las Vegas, there was what, 6 or 7 people on that one flight that I knew, and you even knew some of them. It just shows you how small this world is. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is I'm sure everybody, after you talk for 15 or 20 minutes, even if it's a random stranger, you'll find someone somehow that you have in common,
Hmm.
regardless of where you are in the world.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then also, like for us, as far as selling franchise locations, we qualify person. We wouldn't sell it just anyone that's not the right fit. We have to make sure that they understand what is gonna be day-to-day owner responsibilities, what is the investment range, what to expect, and whether they're ready for it or not. So it's more like a partnership when you go into working business relationship with someone, and they have to trust you, you have to trust them.
Yep.
Yeah,
And for a lot of like services businesses, like say, plumbers, trades, just as an example, a lot of time the owner's name is on the truck, right?
mhm,
So it's even that much more important, with like, with Yolita being a franchisor or you're hiring people is, your name, your brand is what your crew is representing, right?
right. And I think it's also you guys are touching on like how important it is to find somebody that you work with that can also, because it's a real, you said it, it's a relationship, it's a partnership. If as a coach, I'm working with a client and we don't relate to each other or we don't like work well together, is not going to support me. I'm going to feel drained. I'm going to feel tired. I'm not going to feel inspired. I want to walk away. And that means I'm not going to be able to bring the best of my abilities and my energy into that space. I'm actually not going to support them as much as I can. And
Mhm.
at that point, I have to be, and that's something that with like having other coaches teach me and bring that. It's like, it's not about the money. It's about being able to find people that you guys can like help each other together because I'm going to be spending time with them and find that energy that can, yes, you're going to support the client into making whatever decisions or change that they want to make, but they're also going to support you in bringing the best out of me. And when I do that, what's going to happen is they're going to talk about me to their friends, their family, and that's going to bring even more people. And if I don't relate, if I can't work with somebody, then I have to have the responsibility to be like, hey, I think you need to find somebody else and leave that money on the table, and that's okay. And that's something that I have been working on because it's like, oh, money on the table, I can't do that. But it's like, it's not about that. It's about the
I just what Jose said, I can't tell you how many times I've been in a position where, during the sales cycle, I'm like, you know what, this is just not a good fit. And I'll tell them, hey, like, I don't think that this is a good fit. Or, they'll ask, will you cut corners on this or will you do this? And it's very easy to say yes because you want that money, right? But it's starting off that partnership on the wrong foot because they might have unrealistic expectations. You might not really want to work and have that partnership. And if you continue on that partnership, you're going to dread when they call, you're going to dread when they email, you're going to be like, oh, well, just do this, one word answers, quick to get off the phone. And that's going to turn into, the client not feeling that they're being serviced correctly. And it's just a bad relationship because then your work is going to be reflected in that. They're going to tell prospects that, hey, yeah, we had a relationship, it wasn't good, they never answered their phone, they never did this. So, and it's hard. I tell everyone, you got to be ready to just say, hey, you know what, this isn't a good fit. And the first couple of times, I definitely, for days, I'd be like, I should have just kept my mouth shut, so to speak. But the more that you look at, then you get those clients or those relationships or those partnerships where it's like, man, we're firing on all cylinders. We totally get it. Like it's a great working relationship. Then you go to the customer site or you're talking on the phone and it's like high fives, like high energy, like, yeah, like let's get this done. Like, hey, I was thinking about this. What do you guys think? And then it's almost like turns into like kind of like a family, where it's like they trust you, you trust them, everyone's on the same page, and it's so much easier and more pleasant to work with them when it's a great relationship like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like my first franchisee, Christy, for example, we see eye to eye things, and she is following the system as intended, and I'm able to support her. I wouldn't want to work with person that would question, why are we doing this? Like, why, or I want to do it this way, and I would say, for the clients too, if you don't believe 100% in who you're buying into your coach or into the franchise or into provider, then look for a different one that you feel comfortable with, because there's no need to twist elbows or arms to try to fit something or fit a pig in a square hole. It's much better when both parties see eye to eye and agree on things. I mean, you're not going to agree like 100% on everything, right? There might be some like compromises there and there, but for the most part, right, you have to align and the energy, it's like we all have our energy.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what is next for you in terms you're also going to business school, right?
Yeah, I started my college career about 3 months ago. So we'll see. I'm gonna finish it in about 2 years and a half. And that's another thing that I'm working like all this for me going to college, it is yes, learning about businesses, yes, getting my degree, but it's overcoming a mindset that was implemented or given to me or I accepted it when I was younger that I was not smart enough to go to college, that I was not smart enough to graduate. And I remember telling myself in high school, like, why are you gonna go to college? You're gonna waste your money because all you're gonna do is party and not pass any classes. Because that was kind of like my upbringing by my own choice, where I was just into sports and I didn't like going to college or going to school at all. So going to college for me right now is overcoming that voice of like you're not smart to be like yes I am smart and I will graduate and I will get that degree that is going to give me something or not, but it's more about me showing myself that I'm able to do it.
Mhm.
um, so for me is yeah, in 2 years I will finish that career, and then after that, I don't know what's next for me. I think for me right now is focusing on growing my business, braving my day, and learning, connecting with people, networking. I think that's my key right now. It's like learning from you guys, learning from other people that I meet.
Yeah. And we
Because
even talked, maybe we'll open a Brilliant Massage and Skin in Colombia. We'll see.
yeah, absolutely. And either that Colombia or Miami.
Miami, yes.
Right, because I think it's nice like we were getting to know each other and we're seeing like, okay, we have like the same similar values, similar ethics, and we can work in a way that we can support each other.
Yes, absolutely. And it's a journey. It takes time to, grow business, acquire some capital for startup. If it was easy, everyone would do it. But going to school, getting mentors, getting training, buying into existing systems like franchises, that is what really helps. Unfortunately, a lot of small businesses fail because they don't have the education and support. So surrounding yourself and being so eager to learn is what really makes or breaks the success of the businesses. And at the beginning, I wish that I invested more and sooner into my own education. But throughout the years, I realized that wow, every time I do some workshop, a class, a course, it brings me up every time I get something positive out of it and brings me a little closer, makes me a little better to that next goal, the next level.
There's
Yeah,
always takeaways. It doesn't matter what it is, there's always takeaways.
yeah, and I think you mentioned also like surrounding yourself with people. Oh, that for me has been a focus right now is like I need to surround myself with people that have a similar mindset to what I have and that are doing businesses that I can look up to and learn from as well, because that energy is going to impact me. When I went to the summit, just being around hundreds of people, including you guys's, I saw so many limitations that I had that were like uplifted, that were taken off because of the place and the people that I was surrounding myself here in Colombia, for example. I mean, I'm surrounding myself with just my partner and I go to the gym. So, but I'm not surrounding myself with people that are doing businesses, that are creating things, that are thinking about being of service while making money. And I was lacking that. So going to that event for me changed so many things, so many thoughts where I was like, oh my God, it's okay. People are making millions and they see that as like
Normal?
normal, right? And I was like, wait, what? How is that possible? Where I was living, it was like making millions is like it's like, can I even make that happen? And so going to that event for me was that. I was like, oh, it's normal and it's okay. And they teach you and you hear from people like how to get there. And you also, I heard a lot of stories from people and like, yeah, I lost millions. And at the end of the day, it was a blessing because I started focusing on making money and wasting money instead of like becoming, doing not customer service, what's the word? Community service, turning that into a community service and finding that connection to their own religion, their own creator, where they were missing that before. And
Yeah,
so,
and sometimes God, I believe that gives us certain challenges to become better and greater, maybe become better servant to people. Because if there God wouldn't give us a challenge that we can't overcome. So if you have something you're struggling with, there has to be a way. And if other people done it, you can do it so too. Why you wouldn't be able to do it? It's just a matter of knowing how. All you need is like what the only thing that's holding us from what we want is what we don't know. So if we just find out what we don't know, what we need to know, then we can accomplish.
mm, asking the right questions. I always say that our reality is the answer to our own questions. Whatever questions we are asking, God is giving us those answers. And so if we ask the wrong questions, we're going to live by those questions. But if we start asking and noticing what questions we are asking on a daily basis, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, we are going to live by those answers as well.
Yeah. And then perhaps now you could have some business community there in Colombia. Maybe there is some people that like a chamber of commerce, or even we met broker that has connections with Colombia, right? And some other countries that she travels. So you might even be able to do events. Maybe I will even come down there to see if we would want it, because they do like visa programs for people coming from want to do business in US. I am not super aware how it is to doing business in Colombia. I do know that it's high interest rates, so it's a bit hard for people to do business there as far as getting loans and things like that. But I'm sure people are still obviously doing business over there.
Right.
There has to be there maybe business community you could also join, and then maybe you'll come travel. There's some shows, maybe you'll come to the show in May here in Orlando. I'll be there if you want to, come hang out and learn a little bit. That is an investment, but you know, it depends if or you might focus on your 10x training for now, right? I guess you'll see what comes out in a month, but there actually when you start noticing that even in areas that you don't think there is people doing great things, there are people doing great things. So even in Colombia, I'm sure there are people that are making millions.
Oh yeah, for sure. And actually, I just had a conversation with from creating the other business that I'm doing with my partner. I found out that there is an event happening in May. I don't know where, I think the beginning of May. Um, it's called Micro Business something Colombia, where a bunch of small businesses and investors are gonna be going to this event here in Colombia, in Medellin, where I live. So that opened up, and I think Nick touched on like when you create a business, you grow and like opportunities just start happening when conversations and creating another business connected me to now this event that is going to connect me to people that are have that mindset that I'm looking for here, that are making millions, that can teach me a lot more that I know. So it's really about taking action on those little ideas that you have because you never know where they're going to take you. Like I
Yeah,
took action on your invitation to go to Miami, and I was like, I don't know what's going to happen there. And I didn't know anything about it either. But I trusted you. I was
yeah.
like, and it was a gift.
Yeah, thanks for trusting me, and I'm glad ha got great value out of it, and you'll continue to, take advantage of their training, and there's other events that they do. But yeah, maybe we'll see you at some franchise shows.
I
Maybe
want to.
at this one, and as you learning sales, maybe we talked about even making some connections with potential franchisees. So you will be a vessel there to help these people as well with their decision to buy into a business, start a business, because it is scary. So people need support.
Yeah, and it is. It is scary. And I want to go back to what Nick said. It's like the worst thing that could happen is you go and you find a job that can support you financially throughout that time if you want. Um, but yeah, it's I don't know, it's always about again believing in yourself and finding the right people that
Yeah.
can support you in that journey.
Believing and having support. And it's important to have faith too, because nobody is gonna believe as much in you as you believe in yourself too.
Mm,
And,
mm,
and then when you have training and coaches and education to surround yourself, it becomes easier to believe in yourself as well, like you mentioned.
mhm. I just had a thought of I remember when I was working for you and I went to the Burlington location, um, you had that flyer of franchise. And that for me, and I'm just thinking now how that was a sign from God of maybe not that wasn't the time, but it was like about me saying to you, hey, what is this? Like, can you share more about it? And from that conversation, so many little things have happened until this moment where we're now having a podcast talking about it, where we went to an event all together, where you're gonna go to the event in May. I'm still deciding on if that works for me or not, but we're creating a relationship.
Yeah.
No conversation, we're now creating a relationship where we're supporting each other in a way.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll keep doing that as our endeavors progress. As far as so I'm an immigrant from other country. I moved to US. Now you moved to Colombia. How has that been for you moving there? Do you want to come back to US?
You know, being here, being here in Colombia has been it is giving me the energy that I need for me to become the person that I want to become, for me to create the business that I want to create, is giving me the creativity, is reminding me of who I am and where I come from and what I want to change also, because there are some things that I want to change that I don't want them to be part of me anymore, that come from my family and my surroundings here in Colombia. I do. I think I want to keep that dance going from Colombia and the US and maybe other countries. Um, Since I was little, my family used to tell me that when I was in school, my teacher used to call me the little angel, not because I was good, but because I used to move around so much that she'll put me in the seat, and next thing you know, I'll be over there and over there and over there. And that has followed me along the way. There is a pattern that I'm noticing about myself of I move from country to country every 3 years or from state every 3 years. Now, I want to change that because I'm creating a family.
Mhm.
It's time to root down. And I want to honor the place that helped me so much, which was the US and what he gave me because I come here and people want to move to the US.
Mhm.
People want to think in dollars. People want to speak that language. Um, and I have that, thankfully. So it's for me, instead of like pushing away the US, it's like embracing that part of me, embracing Colombia as well, and creating like a new Jose.
Mhm.
It's really what I'm doing.
Yes, hopefully can do business in both. And with
Oh, for
coaching, you
sure.
can do remotely, and then but with brick and mortar opening, you kind of do need to settle down. But if you have managers in place, you could travel back and forth as well.
Right, which is what you guys help with. It's like
Yeah.
how to create that system where if I open a business, a Brilliant Massage and Skin in Miami, which is only like 3 hours away,
Yes.
I can still have that system set up, live here, and just like go back and forth.
Yeah, there you go.
Hmm.
Well, if anybody's watching this video and interested to learn more what we have to offer, I'll put the links down below to our websites. Always happy to schedule one-on-one call if anybody's interested to ask any question about spa business. Also offers spa business consulting and franchise opportunity. And Nicholas offers IT, small business services. And small business being 500 employees and less. I know small business definition is kind of like not what you would think. But, and yes, and Jose, you have a website. I'll post down below. Do you have any call to action for people?
Absolutely. I think for anybody that's has an entrepreneur mindset or that works a 9 to 5 and works for a corporation and is a leader, but wants to learn more about how to regulate their nervous system or how to change their mindset, how to become better communicators, like reach out to me. It's a beautiful, I think when we work on a nervous system, we are able to make better decisions. We are able to see more clearly. We are able to feel better about the decisions that we are making, as well as creating a better work culture in our own in the corporation that we work with or in our own business, which helps tremendously any business that we create or that we work for.
Yes, absolutely. Nicholas, do you have any more uh, last words to close out?
I think the biggest thing that I always say is, don't be hesitant to just hop on a call and chat. I always tell people, like, even if there's a remote interest in outsourced IT services, happy to do a call. No pressure, see if it's a good fit, answer any questions, because really that's what we're here for at the end of the day. Answer questions, make sure people feel comfortable with the solutions, and that it's a good partnership, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're all about. Great partnerships and building relationships and helping people.
Yes, yes. I love this.
We're helpers. Thank you so much, Jose and Nicholas. There we are wrapping up episode 25. And please subscribe and see you in next episodes.
Thank you guys.